Welcome to Learning from Men podcast. This is episode 2. This is my space to learn from men so I can better serve men. Today, we are learning from the one and only Corey Glover. Corey is a husband and father who is living in the Oklahoma City metro area. Hey, this episode is sponsored by Men of Jesus. Men of Jesus is an organization dedicated to assisting men in their personal Christian awareness, improvement, and social enrichment. This organization has been in existence for over 23 years. Men of Jesus has been consistent in working with men, bringing them together to grow in their relationship with Jesus Christ. And the vision is for better men, better families, and better communities. But if you're interested in a community like this for yourself, if you are a man looking for a community, come and join us at mojesus.org. Sign up for our newsletter. We have monthly roundtables. We have coaching. We have mastermind for men. Also sponsored today is 5+2 After School Leadership and Entrepreneurship Program, where we work with 8th grade male students for a year. We walk them through a program, and then we mentor them through high school. So we're excited about our sponsors today. Again, go to mojesus, mojesus.org for more information, support, donate, do all of the things. We appreciate it. Corey, how you doing this evening?
Man, I am doing great. Just sitting here relaxing, ready to have a good conversation.
That's good. That's good. Thank you for this was like something I thought about 2 or 3 days ago. Just creating an opportunity, some space for me to learn from men so I can better serve men with my work with Men of Jesus. I just want to have real conversations with men and just learn how we can better serve them. And so thank you for jumping in. I'm trying to do 100 episodes before
100.
January 1st.
Wow. Boy, that's a lot of
2026.
men. That's a lot of men. That's a lot of men and a lot of good information.
That is a lot of men, a lot of good information. And I don't know if I'm gonna be able to pull it off, but I'm gonna try. Because if you think about it, that's like multiple episodes a day that I need to. So we'll see.
See how it goes.
If not, nobody's gonna die.
Truth.
Nobody's dying. So, man, let's open it up. This is my first question to you. What's one thing you wish someone would have told you about being a man when you were younger?
About being a man when I was younger. Man, I would probably say that the burden of responsibility for your family is a lot more than what you know as a kid. You never really know what your parents are dealing with or what your father is dealing with or grandfather, uncle, you just never know what they're dealing with on a day-to-day basis to make sure that everything is smooth. And I just think that if I well not and there's no real way of preparing for that, but just knowing that information would probably be one thing that I would say would have been more beneficial just to know.
Yeah, now that you say that, that's a really, that's a really good thing, because now I'm thinking about my boys who are now grown. And I'm like, I'm gonna have to ask them, like, do they feel like I was able to uh uh relay that on to them? But I don't even know if I even thought about I didn't even think
Well,
about that until just now, you saying that.
Yeah, and I think about that a lot. Just not necessarily, but I don't know the proper way of being able to give that to my son to let him know outside of just letting him know, being open about myself. I guess that'd be probably the easiest and best way for you to be able to let them know that kind of information. So yeah.
Yeah, I guess one of the things that we did with our kids growing up was we would have couple family meetings. We would have our couple meeting, then we would do our family meetings. And in those family meetings, we tried to talk about like paying the mortgage,
Yeah.
talk about electric, like try to get them to feel and show them. I remember one time we like showed them the bills and things like that. And, but I still don't know if you can really feel it, but that's a good question. That's a good thought.
Yeah. And especially I won't say especially, but since we're talking men, for your dad is, or your father figure is, trying to hold it all together and trying to make sure that everybody is good to go, and looking out for everybody to make sure that, and you never really give that to anybody else to open up about that. So some openness would be good also. So yeah, no, that's all good information.
Yeah, no, that's good. And you and I, we share a grandfather, and so to
Yes.
watch him, I mean, outside of our fathers, but just to watch our grandfather who raised 13 children,
Kid, correct.
like
Yes.
the weight of that.
Correct. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, for sure. His burden or his his lot in life that's an extreme thing. I couldn't imagine.
Yeah, and he was a pastor of a church, and so just even trying to care for people in that way, but yeah,
Yeah.
just trying to understand that. That's great.
Yeah.
Well, talking about, our grandfather, but I don't know if this who you would say, but who is a man you learned from growing up, and what did he teach you that you still carry today? And I asked you this, was it a man outside somebody outside of our family that you had, a coach or anybody like that that helped you in that way?
I would say there's multiple men that I believe that influence me personally. Um, One is grandpa, our grandfather. Um, so grandfather for me on my dad's side, my grandfather on my mom's father also was a big influence. I'll get to the reasoning, but those two, and some of my uncles, but mainly those two were the ones. And I'll stick with Grandpa Coleman. Our grandfather is his his consistency. Both of them have really good consistency of they were there always. They were consistent in how what they believed in, what they did every day, on their faith in giving out to other people. Now they were two different, two different things. Faithful wise, Grandpa Coleman was one way. Grandpa Glover was an extreme different way, but they were both consistent. Grandpa Coleman showed me about taking care of your family, being a good man to your wife, and like I said, being consistent. But Grandpa Glover mm, cared about community. He always cared about the community. He's always looking for ways to do stuff for the kids in the neighborhood, whether it was starting a football league whenever there wasn't anything like that. He just wanted to make sure that the young men in the city had a place where they can go play, and working that through that whole thing. And he was always good with me personally, um, with like being there talking to me about life and telling me about things that went on in his life, and things like that. So him and I talked, and we and we butted heads a lot because I'm just as strong headed as he is, and so but him and I always got along, and I loved talking with him all the time. So I those two mainly.
Yeah. Yeah, and you saying consistency is one of the things that is something that, for me and my sons and just me being around other people, just always trying to work on being consistent and doing those right things. And
Yeah.
that's what you're saying. And you have taken what's something that you like for you that you said, man, I really try to work at being consistent in this based on those men in your life. Is there something specific that comes to mind more so than others?
Um, So I don't know if either one of them were very good listeners, but that for me, I perceived both of them as good listeners because especially Grandpa Coleman, he was just a quiet man for the most part. For the most part, obviously he's speaking all the time and he's talking all the time, but he was a quiet man. So I think that for me, I try to do a good job of listening, and especially with my family, whether it's my wife or with Asa, with my son, and or with just other extended family members, try to have good ear of being of just listening, just
Yeah.
trying to listen and trying to listening, trying to be consistent with listening. Those though that I think is a big deal.
Yeah. When did you feel yourself become a man? Was there a moment you was like, "Oh, I'm a man. I'm a
I'm
man
a
now."
man. I'm a man. I'm 40. To be honest with you, I don't know if I ever really. I mean, I can name times that I felt like I've changed, but a moment that felt like I was a man, I don't know if I have that. Now I do believe once my son was born, that really changed me completely. I mean, yeah, changed me completely. I mean, and I was 36 when that when that happened. But yeah, I don't know if I have a moment that I was like, "Oh, man, I'm a man. I'm a man now." I mean, I guess when you gotta start paying bills, that's really what it comes down to. You're like, "Oh, I can't function. I can't function without paying these bills."
Yeah,
Whenever we
having children definitely I think does kind of I think specifically having boys. I mean, I guess my daughter too, like every with each child is kind of like, oh, that responsibility
Yeah,
that you talk about, like not understanding that. I think you begin to grasp that even more when
yeah,
you start adding no, especially if you're married. So then you have your wife, right? But when
yeah,
I started having children, when I got married, my wife had a son already, and so
yeah,
it's like, "Oh, no, I'm taking care of a wife and a kid."
yeah,
I'm if you're not a
immediately.
man, you better man up.
Yeah, yeah. That does change you. Like you said, I mean, you're responsible for somebody else. And now,
Yeah.
really, I mean, is that may be what the definition of manhood is now I'm having to take care of somebody else.
Yeah.
I am responsible for somebody else's well-being.
Because if you
Yes.
think about it, and this is not to knock, I mean, I think just to sit there talking to you though, but when you start thinking about a man who's single versus a man when you start having it's kinda like, okay, like, once you have children, that is a different kind of manhood, you know?
Manhood, yeah, yeah, and your perception of what one thing is versus the other. You think manhood is, or I think I'm a man when I'm doing this. I'm going to work every day. I'm paying bills, and then it changes another time.
Yeah,
Whenever you get married, and you might feel like, oh man, I'm a
right.
man now. Yeah, so yeah, different stages, probably all the same, but different stages.
Different stages.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Do you remember any advice that you were given?
Oh goodness. The it was I won't. That's hard to explain. Advice, I would say, I think from grandma. I think she might have told me about wanting. She always was talking to me about wanting to have children, and that you will be a good dad, and you can do it. God will take care of that. You need to be a good. You need to have your own children. You need to keep replenishing. So she was always believed in me that I could be a, a good dad. Now that may have just been her being her,
Yeah.
just believing that everybody can be great, but not really any real word. And I'm laughing because like I have like advice that your mother has given me some great advice. And so it doesn't make sense in this context but that's what came to my head was some of the advice that your mom has given me throughout the years, especially whenever I was younger. She gave some good ones. So
Goodness. I think some, like, this is kinda like some men not I won't say not giving the best advice, but kinda like I guess it depends on your values and how you go about life, but just kinda like some of the advice around sex was not the best, like
no, not at all. Not even a little bit.
so I think, like, I don't know when I guess at some point I had to realize, like, I can't give my sons that same advice. That was not the best
That
advice
doesn't work,
around
and
some things.
that doesn't work around with their generation. It didn't work for them. I did just think of something. This is once again, this is kind of off the cuff. One of my uncles, my uncle James Cherry, never I was maybe 22, 23 years old. Yeah, I was probably about 22 years old. And he, I had to meet him at his house, and he came to the door, opened up the door, and I just was coming over to visit with him before I had to go do something else that while I was up at Guthrie. The minute I came in the door, he was like, "Now, Corey, how you doing?" I was like, "Oh, I'm good." Now, you know, us cherry men, we don't beat on women. And I was like, I was like, okay. And I was thinking to myself, like, I've never hit a woman ever in my life. Who's told him that I've hit somebody before? But anyway, he has had this perception that not that necessarily, but he just like, you don't never do something like that to women. You keep your hands to yourself. He said that to me multiple times, not even just that time, but you keep your hands to yourself. You don't never touch nobody. You don't never touch no woman. If you have to leave, you leave. You leave the house. You don't never sit in there. You don't never touch no one. I don't care what's going on. You better walk right on out that house. That one, it was a little bit more than that too. But yeah, that I will never forget because I was kind of taken back because I'm like that's not even my personality. I'm not for to hit a woman. But he had his reasons. So yeah,
Sometimes it's just some stuff you just need to say out loud. Like, I just want to make sure I give him this
get this
information.
information. Yeah, I don't like I said, I don't know what made him think that. Yeah, he had his reasons. So I mean, yeah, he was good about that kind of stuff. So
What are some things that you've kind of taken um since having a son? Like, w- have you thought about like I'm raising a son, a man? Like, are there things that you have come up on your own with that you want to make sure that you give your son?
yes, all of those things. I try to do a good job of keeping open communication with him. I think that's kind of big. I think that at least for me, I didn't have great communication with parental anything, you know what I mean? My mom or dad when I was younger. And so I think that kind of hurts for a period of time if you don't ever come back to that at least in a functional way without it being a strong healing time, if you know what I mean. Like it doesn't necessarily need to be that. It can just be something that you. But yeah, I want him. I I do want to keep communication. That's kind of a big one for me, and I don't want to. I do want to show him that even as a man, you don't have to overreact to things. So
That's good.
being calm in whatever situation is is a big thing. And so I try to do that a lot, even though he thinks that I'm not being patient or I'm not being calm. I tell him all the time, brother, there's lots of times that I just want to choke you, but I don't. But so I think just communication and and trying to be patient and also um, believing in yourself. I think that's another one that I'm working on with him is because he has a time where he just doesn't kind of believe in himself at times, and I try to reiterate, hey man, you're good to go. You're learning, you're doing things. So I think that's another one. Those three things are probably that I didn't necessarily get that I think is valuable for him outside of other things, you know, taking care of your mom and, you know, yourself and yeah, being responsible and those kinds of things, the normal. But outside of that, is what I'm
So
hoping to do.
you said communication, uh, how to manage your emotions. Is that
Yes, yeah, yeah,
yeah?
yeah,
And then what was that third
yeah.
one?
And then the third one was oh good.
I
I
I
don't
got
know,
it
lose
recorded.
track. I don't know why I just blanked. I'm just blanked.
I can't
I
but
can't
anyway,
remember.
those are all good. Like, Imma go back and make sure that we highlight those because I think those are good, especially the, emotions, like, teaching our sons that there's more than just anger, right? Like,
Yes.
there's other emotions. Whenever I teach a couples class, uh we do this thing called XYZ, and you attach a feeling word to the XYZ. So when I came home from work and the house wasn't clean, it made me feel like you don't appreciate me. Where versus saying when I came home from work and the house wasn't clean, it made me angry. Like that
Yeah.
angry being the only word that we can
Word.
communicate. But we would give
Okay.
this sheet. We would give this sheet with all these different feeling words. And when I first
Yeah.
saw it, I was like, that is so weird. But then the more and more I talk, it's like, oh yeah, like we just don't
Yeah.
do a good job of
Yeah.
talking about our emotions and the feelings that we really have versus thinking it's always anger.
Yeah. That is exactly right. Yeah, and everything doesn't have to be that. It doesn't have to be, like that in that scenario. Okay, the house isn't clean. Okay, I mean, or someone gonna die today because
Yeah,
the house isn't clean? You know what I mean? So it's like, and I'm not saying that lessening anybody's feelings about how they feel, but
right.
but still, everything doesn't have to be a thing.
Yeah, for me personally, I've never came home and had any kind of feelings towards a messy house or a clean house. But
Yeah,
I'm not, everybody's
some
different.
people. Correct. Yeah, yeah. No, no.
That's
Just
a
in that
really big
scenario.
deal.
Yeah.
That's a big deal for some people. Um, so when you talk about communication, is that just like your son being able to come and talk to you about anything? Like you don't want to put a wall up to where that can't happen.
Correct. And I
Yeah.
and I and I told him that and reiterated that the other day, and because he was kind of down about something, I don't even remember what it was. But I told him, I was like, listen, there is no time that you can't talk to me about anything. It doesn't matter. Because him, we talk. So usually our talking time is me. I pick him up from school, and it's 20 something minutes on the way home. And so usually we try to go through what happened today, if there was anything. Not anything just needs to be in depth, but if there's something that comes up that he's been thinking about, we talk about it in the car while we're on our way home. And so that's usually our time. But I do like to go into his room and just sit in there sometimes and what you in there doing? Or listen to him talking with his friends or whatever. So I just want him to know you can always have some kind of communication.
Yeah. Yeah, that's important. Um,
Mhm.
That's good. What I think one of the things I realized about you, like yesterday, y'all had a friendsgiving, even if it was though it was
Mhm.
your wife, or you had some friends come be a part of the friendsgiving. Like
Yes.
I feel like you always have done a good job of having these key friends that you will go and connect with over many
Yes.
years, right? And
Yeah.
so, what has allowed for you to be able to keep friendships where a lot of adults struggle with having friendships, especially long-term friendships.
That's a good one because that's another one for young men also about having other friends, male friends mainly that you can talk with or but for me, I think that this is and I don't know if I've ever told you this, but for me, I always enjoyed whenever I was a kid having my family and my people close, whether it was hanging with us as cousins, as the kids, or my siblings, hanging with them. That like a was always I always felt like I had a sense of I needed to keep friendships and siblings and cousins and because that's the only thing I've ever known. Well, whenever you and I lived together, I still had that, and I still have my friends also, but I still had that. And then whenever you got married, I got married, then you're having to figure out another way to navigate that same thing to keep that same thing for me and so having people that I find that it really rewind. And in all of those relationships, whether it's my siblings, cousins, whatever, I found value in that. There's value in having all those people around that you can laugh with, talk with. I find that kind of thing valuable to me. And so that's been the main thing that I enjoy and I value all of the people that whether in what capacity it is, whether it's just text messages, I only see you once a year, or I play fantasy football with a bunch of guys that just finding things that we can all that I can still find value and have conversations with folks throughout. And I intentionally have an array of friends that are different from one to the other to the other. And so I think that's valuable also because everybody's not the same. I have a buddy that's from Venezuela. I have an African friend. Obviously there's white people from different and black friends that are I just think that having all these different people around that you can pull from that you let you know that we're all the same. We may be from all these different places and grew up differently, but we're all the same. And I think that that's super valuable to me. So
Yeah, and in that, I think too, like you begin to broaden your horizons, so to speak, right?
yeah.
Like
Hmm.
it challenges your thinking to be around different people because you begin to learn like everybody doesn't think alike. And so whenever I come into this particular people group or relationship, I'm trying to think based on how they think or to be able to engage with people. Like I can have a conversation with you that I may not be able to have with my brother or,
Right.
and so I think that I think that is valuable to have, and it helps me be a better person whenever I can have a multitude. I had somebody go to church at North Church in Oklahoma City today, and they
Hmm.
called me as a friend, and he's like, "Man, there was a lot of different people in there." Like, he's like, "I don't know if I
Hmm.
ever been to a church that had that many different
Kinds of
types of
people, different
people
groups,
groups."
groups of peoples. Yeah.
He said, "Is that something that y'all try to do intentionally?" I was like, "Well, I don't yes, we want that. Yes, we're intentional about trying to create that's kind of culture where
Yeah.
everybody but we want everybody to still be who they are.
Right.
Like, we don't want people to come in and then we all become the same kind of person.
Same pay person. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
value the diversity in that, and that's the diversity of thinking, culture, the way they live, what they eat, all of that. And so, yeah, no, I think that's good. But I just noticed that about you. And so I think, so what you're saying is like, you want that for your life. So you're intentional about trying to make sure that that's in your life.
Yeah, 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 and you know me. I enjoy hanging with people, laughing with people, cracking jokes, whatever it is. I I enjoy those things, and two, it's good for my wife also. And she likes being with her people, and so when you find and all these people that we around are, I believe, are good people. So that's the other part of it too, is that you want good people, you want to be around good people. So surround yourself with the kind of people you wanna be, so,
It's good.
yeah.
Is there a habit that you or discipline that you have that has helped you grow into being a man?
I know I said this earlier, but well, no, I didn't. It just I think that being consistent with something that's healthy for you. For me, it's been the gym or working out. That's been my my thing. It's been a double. Obviously we're getting older, so our health is valuable. And also I want to be healthy when Asa gets older so I can still function and be able to, as he's growing up, I want to be able to function. And so I think that I personally am a habitual kind of person anyway. And so the more structure of the same thing over and over is easier for me. If I could do something every day, that'd be great. If I can have the same, I know a lot of people don't like that. And for most of my week, a lot of the stuff is the same, and that's kind of the way that and I know that sounds boring for a lot of people, but I I find some solace in that consistency of the same thing every day, knowing that I wake up in the morning, my wife is Ace is there, they're getting ready for school, all the things throughout my day, getting ready for whether it's my eating my protein bars at 11:30. I do the same thing every single every single day. At least throughout most of the week. On the weekend, sometimes it's a little different, but
Yeah,
for the most part, every day is the same. So my brain works that way where it just needs to have the same thing over and over and over again. That's how I find some peace
for sure.
in
No,
in
I
in
think
in that in that kind of thing. Not
yeah,
necessarily in everything, but yeah.
I think that is that's probably a needed thing for most of us.
But
What have
some people don't like that. Some people want to have some wild
some
cards that pop
spontaneous
in. If yeah, some spontaneous
some
spontaneity.
spontaneity
Yeah,
throughout the
yeah,
throughout
yeah,
the
throughout
week.
the
Yeah.
week, and I think that happens, just because Ace is in school and he's got a basketball game, and I go to the gym, and something might happen with traffic. All there's things that can spark some other kind of.
A little
I'm not just walking
change.
around. Yeah, I'm not the zombie, full on zombie every day, but I mean,
Yeah, I think too, like in the stage of life when you have a family, you have young kids, it's just better for routine, like to have routine
yeah,
versus kind of being all over the place.
Ace,
And
yeah,
you kind of get that anyway because you got school, you got work, come
yeah.
home, you got sports or let's go to the gym, you got dinner, then you got to go to bed because and so which my life's never been that way, but yeah, so
I know that. It's I have other friends also I don't know how y'all do it. I don't know how you do
Uh,
it, but you do it well.
what's been a hard season? What's been something hard that you had to overcome that you don't mind sharing, and what did you learn from it? Like, what's something that hard that you had to overcome in your life?
Ooh, well, I mean, there's few things, but I'll keep it somewhat normal. Yeah, so somewhat normal. I mean, we all have struggles of things that happen in life that you have to work through. But I think that double. No, it was the hardest thing was dealing with Asa being born and having the disease that he has. You're already in a place as being a new parent for me, not necessarily for my wife, and she has a son, and being a new parent um and then you get this monkey wrench of a thing that just happens in 48 hours of him being born and him having to have surgery when he's 48 hours flying and meta flight to the emergency room to the hospital, like all of that stuff was a pretty mentally taxing thing, the and just dealing with that from that point on. It has obviously gotten easier as he's gotten older, but that first year or so, year and a half was pretty difficult for both of us. And I think, I mean, I know the thing that helped us is our our faith in Christ. And I know that's cliche but being like fully honest and fully like whenever we found out that it was happening and he needed to have surgery, like before they just was like, oh, he's need to have surgery. And I held Becky's hand and we prayed together. It's like, hey, I know this is scary for both of us, and we're gonna pray that these doctors are gonna take care of him, that everything is gonna work out in the best way that it possibly can, and we're gonna just go from there. Because because you were there, but it was a pretty it was tough for us, and it wasn't. I think it ended up being great in the end for me and for our marriage. Not that it was bad, but I think it got us closer together. It brought us closer together. It brought us to where we knew that it's okay. This is us. Okay, this is this. Forget about anything else that could be. This is about us now, and I think that was a good. It was a blessing. It was a blessing in disguise. I put it like that. We weren't expecting it to be that, but it was. Even though it was a difficult thing, but um, it was a blessing in the end, and we've carried that momentum ever since. So I'm thankful for the experience, and as all of them that's been in life, growing up and you know, having tough times and stuff like that. I, I you- that's actually what my dad asked me something other. I know this is a tangent, but my dad asked me something about apologizing being a kid, and I was like, um, listen, God gave me this mission, and I count it all joy. I whatever. It may seem like it was something that needs to be negative, and it may be that way to somebody, but it got me to today, and I am happy to be where I'm at today. I want to be better, obviously, but I count it all joy. It's all necessary. I'll put it like that. So
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
yeah.
no, that's good. Yeah, I think out of that yeah, you don't wanna go through hard things.
Yeah, yeah,
But those hard things make us, um, stronger, you know?
yeah.
They create in
I agree.
us this ability to know that we can get through stuff.
Yes, yeah. And like, who says that life needs to be easy? Who said? Where is that in any rule book of life that it says that things are gonna always be smooth and peachy and great? And now that's nice when it is that way, but there's nothing that ever says that, oh man, your life is gonna be you need to be working towards your life being great. Nothing's gonna happen, nothing bad is gonna happen. Like it just is an unfair expectation.
Right.
For
Well,
yourself and
from a biblical perspective, from scripture, the Bible says there will always be trouble.
correct,
It
correct.
speaks of that it always be trouble. And then, oh man, what else was I gonna say? Oh, today I was saying at church, I was saying if it's easy, it's probably not God. It's
Yeah,
like it's probably not something that God is asking you to do because when I look at through God's word, I mean, it's just challenge after challenge for most believers.
yeah, for most of them, yeah, yeah, every one of them.
Yeah, yeah,
There's not a one.
yeah, and
Job being the worst.
Job being the worst, and you think about the Bible, like, yeah, man. Yeah, you spot on. Like, I don't think this world is gonna be any uh yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
think the joy comes from just for me, it's just like trusting God. Like I just know who God is in my life and
yeah,
whatever the circumstances. Oftentimes my most challenging times come because I didn't not made the best decision about so
yeah.
it's normally some a predicament I done put myself
For
in,
myself
so,
and yeah. Nope, you're right
uh
on that.
so last question, what legacy do you hope to leave, um, for Asa, for your family? What's the what's the legacy, and do you think about that?
Yeah, yeah, that's what yeah, yes, way too much. I think about it way too often. Oh man, I just more than anything, I want him to know that I want future to know that he's loved, that that somebody cared enough to put something good out there into him that he can pass on to for the future. He can and another thing is getting rid of all previous negative things that could be passed down from one generation to the next. I want to give you a clean slate where you can go from here. I don't want you having to deal with the things that I had to deal with through life. And so I hope that yeah. Yeah, I just hope that he knows that he can carry on being loved because I really think that that's in the end for what I think our grandparents, for me, both sides, wanted for me and all of us is that, you are loved. Somebody loves you. Somebody has cared for you.
Yeah.
That's a great legacy to have. And people, oh man, I remember that lady, Coleman lady. She was a lovely woman. Like, oh, that's something that's a blessing, man. Like you can't
Yeah.
you can't beat that. You can't beat that. I don't want I was dealing with such and such and they was terrible. Your such and such is terrible. I don't want yeah, I'd rather have that as legacy going forward if that's even a real legacy you can pass down. But being loved is really more than anything.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And I think too, like the legacy that you're leaving is the same legacy I feel like you mentioned about your grandfathers, which is consistency. To hear
yeah,
you say that, like you're leaving that for Asa, so Asa's gonna be able to say the same thing about you about that you say about the men that added the most value to you is just them being consistent, and he's getting to see that from you. So I think that's cool.
yeah, yeah. I can't wait for to keep being consistent. So
Yeah,
just being showing up every day, and I think I've heard that from you many a time. Showing up every day
just
is
keep
what you
showing up.
love. Keep showing up
Keep
every day.
showing up. You know, it's amazing what comes out of just keep showing up.
Yep. Yeah, yeah, you're exactly right. Yeah, just being there. You don't know what's gonna happen, but
Yeah,
it's a big one.
because not showing up definitely is not gonna let anything happen. So
And then no, no, not anywhere near good enough.
yeah, keep
Nothing
showing
good
up.
comes out of not showing up.
Yeah. Well,
Uh,
Corey, thank you so much for your time, my man.
for sure, bro. Thank you. Thank you for asking me.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, hey, thank you all for hitting that play button for another episode of Learning from Men. And this is episode 2. So hopefully there'll be an episode 3. There will be an episode 3.
It
So
will
come
be.
back and listen again. And let's keep learning. All right. Go
Peace
in.
out.
Yes, stay on until it uploads.